Imagine leaving everything you own, your home, your business, your family. You arrive in a foreign city with nothing but the clothes on your back. Now imagine a stranger walks up to you and says, "Everything I have is yours. My house, my wealth, my land, take half." This wasn't a charity campaign. This wasn't a government program. This was one human being to another, bound not by blood, but by faith. This is the story of the most extraordinary act of brotherhood in human history. The Muslims who had made the Hijra, the journey from Mecca to Medina, were called the Muhajireen, the Emigrants. They had left behind everything they had built over decades. Their homes were seized. Their businesses were taken. Some had even left spouses and children behind, unable to bring them safely. They arrived in Medina with empty hands but unbroken hearts. And the question now was, how do you rebuild a life from nothing? How do you create a community out of strangers in a foreign land? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had the answer. Shortly after arriving in Medina, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gathered the Muhajireen and the Ansar, the local Muslims of Medina, whose name literally means the helpers. In that gathering, he, peace be upon him, did something no political leader, no king, no emperor had ever done before. He, peace be upon him, paired them. One emigrant, al-Rahman ibn Auf, not as acquaintances, not as neighbors, but as brothers. Scholars of Sirah record that approximately 90 men were paired that day, 90 bonds forged in a single gathering. And what happened next would echo through history forever. al-Rahman ibn Auf. Vaf, may Allah be pleased with him, was one of the wealthiest men in Mecca, a merchant of extraordinary talent. He had left it all behind. When he arrived in Medina, he was paired with Sa'd ibn al-Rabi, may Allah be pleased with him, one of the most generous of the Ansar. Sa'd, may Allah be pleased with him, looked at Abdurrahman ibn Auf, may Allah be pleased with him, and said, "Brother, I am the wealthiest among the Ansar. Look at my wealth. Take half of it. I have 2 wives. Choose whichever you prefer, and I will divorce her so you may marry her." Let that sink in. He offered his wealth. He offered his home. He even offered to give up his own wife. This was not a polite gesture. This was total, unconditional love. But al-Rahman ibn Auf, may Allah be pleased with him, smiled and said something remarkable. He replied, "May Allah bless you in your wealth and your family. Just show me where the marketplace is." He didn't want a handout. He wanted an opportunity. Within a short time, through his God-given talent and relentless effort, al-Rahman ibn Auf, may Allah be pleased with him, had rebuilt his fortune from scratch. He married, established his business, and became once again one of the wealthiest men in the land. The Brotherhood wasn't about dependency. It was about dignity, about giving someone a hand up, not just a handout. Now consider the other side of this equation. The Ansar were not wealthy elites with surplus to spare. Many of them were ordinary farmers and tradespeople. Yet they gave without hesitation. The Quran described them in words that have never been matched. They prefer others over themselves, even when they are in need. This verse, this single line, became the defining description of an entire people. The Ansar didn't give from their abundance. They gave from their scarcity. and that made it one of the greatest acts of generosity ever recorded. But this brotherhood wasn't only about wealth. It ran deeper than money. These bonds were treated with the same legal weight as blood relationships. In the early days of Islam, brothers in faith could even inherit from one another. Before the laws of inheritance were later completed, they prayed together. They ate together. They fought side by side. They buried each other. When one grieved, the other grieved. When one celebrated, the other celebrated. They were two souls living one shared destiny. And what of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, himself? He, peace be upon him, too participated in this brotherhood. He, peace be upon him, paired himself with his closest companion, Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, his cousin, his brother in faith, the young man who had risked his life lying in the Prophet's, peace be upon him, bed the night of the Hijra. Some narrations also mention the profound bond between the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Abu Bakr al-Siddiq, may Allah be pleased with him, a friendship so deep that the Prophet, peace be upon him, would later say, if I were to take a Khalil, an intimate friend beyond all others, it would be Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him. These were not just political alliances. These were the deepest human bonds imaginable. Now step back and look at what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was building. Medina was not a simple city. It was a complex web of Arab tribes, the Aus and the Khazraj, who had been at war with each other for over 100 years. There were also 3 major Jewish tribes, and now hundreds of newcomers from Mecca. Any other leader would have seen a powder keg. The Prophet, peace be upon him, saw a foundation. Where others saw division, he, peace be upon him, built unity. And it started not with laws or armies, but with brotherhood, with 2 men looking each other in the eyes and saying, you are my family now. The impact of this brotherhood was immediate and practical. The Muhajireen had no land to farm, no established trade networks, no homes. Overnight, that changed. The Ansar opened their doors, their farms, their storerooms. Historians record that some Ansar families split their date palm trees down the middle, literally dividing their source of income, and gave half the harvest, rights to their emigrant brothers. In a desert economy where date palms were currency, this was equivalent to handing over half your bank account every single year for the rest of your life. But perhaps the most powerful story of this brotherhood comes from the battlefield. When the early Muslims went to war, the Ansar and Muhajireen fought as one body. There was no your side and my side. There was only the line of faith. One Ansari companion, may Allah be pleased with him, mortally wounded in battle, was found with a piece of bread in his hand. He heard another Muslim nearby calling out in thirst. He passed the bread to him. That man heard another. He passed it on. The bread traveled down the line until all 3 had died, none of them having eaten, each preferring his brother over himself. This is the spirit the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, planted in Medina. And it spread. It became the DNA of the early Muslim community. A community where your neighbor's hunger was your problem, where a stranger's grief was your grief, where no one slept full while their brother went hungry. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, none of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. This wasn't poetry. It was a social contract. a way of life. And the Ansar and Muhajireen lived it not perfectly, but genuinely with everything they had. 14 centuries have passed. The names of those 90 pairs have mostly faded from popular memory, but the principle they demonstrated lives on. Every time someone opens their home to a refugee, every time someone gives not from their surplus, but from their need, every time a stranger becomes family, that is the echo of Medina. The world today is fractured by tribalism, nationalism, and division. And the answer that actually worked, that built a civilization, was given in a gathering in Medina over 1,400 years ago. Two strangers, one bond, unbreakable. The Muhajireen came to Medina with empty hands. The Ansar filled them, not because they had to, but because they chose to. Because faith had made them something the world had never quite seen before. They weren't just a community. They were a proof that human beings, when connected by something greater than themselves, are capable of a generosity that defies logic, defies self-interest, and defies everything the cynics say about human nature. This was Medina. This was the Brotherhood. And from this foundation, a civilization would rise. If this story moved you, share it, because these stories deserve to be heard. In the next episode, we move to the Constitution of Medina, the world's first pluralistic social contract, drafted by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to unite Muslims, Arabs, and Jews under one framework of rights and responsibilities. A document so ahead of its time, modern political scientists are still studying it today. Until then, may peace be upon you.